All right, let's quickly go through this civil liberties project and the expectations for this assignment. So it says, for this project, you will research a Supreme Court case relating to civil liberties. After researching your case, you will present your findings in a Google Slides presentation. You will choose your case from the list provided in the assignment. So we will go over this list here in just a minute. So it says, and this is important, you may work alone or in groups of no more than 2. So you can work with a partner if you choose to. However, your partner should be in your same class period. So if you were in first period, then your partner needs to be in first period. If you were in fourth period, your partner needs to be in fourth period. If you are an in-person student, your partner should also be in person. If you are a virtual student, your partner should also be virtual. And I'm going to need both partners to turn in a copy of the presentation. It just makes it much easier when grading, and it makes sure that everyone gets a grade. So your presentations need to include the basic facts or background of the case that you are researching. So the date of the case, where the case was first heard. So maybe it was heard in a district court, maybe it was heard in a state court. The facts of the case. So what happened? How did this unfold? Who was involved? Okay, so for example, in Wisconsin v. Yoder, you're going to have the state of Wisconsin and the school district versus the parents of the students that are involved. Then I want to know the constitutional connection. So which amendment does your case apply to, and why or how does it apply to that amendment? The similarities and differences to the required case. So for example, if your case was about the right to privacy, you would compare it to Roe v. Wade. Or if you were to look at the list here and say you chose Texas v. Johnson, you could compare your case to Tinker v. Des Moines or Schenck v. the United States. Okay, so that is what I mean by comparing it to a required case. So how is it similar to that required case that you have to know for the exam? How is it different? Are there any key terms that are connected to the case? So for example, in the case of Miranda v. Arizona, Miranda rights are established. Include the majority, concurring, and dissenting opinions, although I will note here that some cases are not going to have all 3. So for some cases, you might not have a concurring opinion. And then what precedent was set for future cases? Have any recent cases within the last couple of decades been decided based on the ruling in this case? So this is going to require a little bit of research on your part here. So how was the precedent set by your case? How has that been used in more recent cases? So the grading, your project is going to be worth 40 points in total. So you need to include all of that background information on your case. You need to explain the precedent and provide the opinions, accurately compare and contrast to the required case, and it needs to be neatly organized, grammatically correct, and include a works cited page. So I put a little note down here because I am expecting quality work on these research presentations. So for the presentations that we did for the bureaucracy, a lot of those were thrown together really quickly and didn't use a lot of research or put a lot of effort into these presentations. So I'm expecting really quality work because I'm going to give you a few days to work on this. So I don't want something that was just thrown together in an hour. If it is sloppy and not neatly done, okay, it will lose some points. You will not receive full credit. So that is all of the details for this project. So this is the list of cases that you can choose from. So we are discussing things like freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom of religion, due process and rights of the accused, and then the right to privacy. So you are not choosing from the required cases. We are talking about those and getting details of those in class. You are choosing from the bullet points here. So you can choose any of the cases that you want. So you can just pick one, and that is the case that you are researching. Okay, so again, do not choose a required case. You are choosing from the cases that we have not actually discussed in class. So if you're interested in freedom of speech, you can choose one of these. If you're interested in freedom of religion, one of these, so on and so forth. So pick your case from this list, and then you will follow these directions. So if you have any questions, please let me know.